Hey guys, in case it isn't obvious, I've literally just woken up, and I wanted to do a quick video going over what I think will be my next build, mostly just to give you guys a little update and also to collect some input from you guys, because I'm not really sure if there's any cool synergy items that I'm not thinking about, because it's been a while since I played a build like this. So the plan is to do a Scorching Ray Elementalist. They buffed Scorch Ray pretty substantially this league. I've been saying for a while you can do pretty cool Scorch Ray builds, so I thought I should probably finally try and play a Scorch Ray build. And I'm sure Mathel's going to play it at some point, and I wanted to get to it before he does, and knowing my luck, he's probably already played it, and I just missed the video. But anyway, so let's get into it. I wanted to use the new Elementalist, wanted to do Scorch Ray, wanted to do pure Scorching Ray, no Righteous Fire, no Flame Wall, no, just pure Scorch Ray. Another reason for doing pure Scorching Ray is Elementalist is very starved on links. I'm struggling a little bit. I've managed to fit everything I want in here, but it's been a bit of a tight squeeze, and there's still some stuff I would like to jam in there if at all possible. Another question I'm not sure about is, does Bastion of Element count clusters? If it does, this tree is very nice for Bastion of Elements. Bastion of Elements gives you Primal Aegis, which is just like an absorb shield on you that recharges. And it can take 100 damage per allocated notable. A notable is a jewel or a big node. So if it counts these as well, then I've got like 3,100 or something absorb shield. If it doesn't count those, it's like 2,500 or something, which is, you know, quite a substantial difference. The idea is to have 191%-ish life. Could have more, could have less, depending on if I use 2 or 3 point cluster jewels. And there's a few more things on the Tarke chase if I want more or less life. I've kind of over-invested into utility links, because I generally find with builds like this, when you haven't played them in a while, it's better to over-invest in quality of life nodes on the skill tree, and then when you play the character to be like, actually, I don't need these, and remove the points, than to plan your builds without the quality of life, realize your build feels awful, and then you need to cut like all of your damage, and then suddenly the build doesn't function anymore. So, with a realistic setup with gear that I all currently have in SSF, 2.4 mil Cirrus damage, with just weapons, stuff I just have, right? It could be higher with actual gear slotted and everything, on just the Scorching Ray. My Caustic Arrow build is 1.6 mil damage for reference. It's a dot build, you have 100% uptime of the damage very easily, very low visual clutter, which is something I really appreciate. It's nice being able to actually see what's happening around you. In terms of damage uptime, obviously the Caustic Arrow build is very mobile. For this, like, it's a channeling build, you have to stand still, Tarke. Well, the way Scorch Ray works is you get it to 8 stages. Every time you channel, you apply a stage. At 8 stages, you're doing your full damage. With this Skill Effect Duration cluster, my Scorch Ray lasts for 2.7 seconds. So then every 2.7 seconds, I just need to refresh the Scorching Ray just to keep it ticking over. So on a boss, it would be 1 second of full channeling to get to max stages, because I've got cast rate of 8.16 and there's 8 stages, so I channel for 1 second. That would also activate my infusion. And then whenever there's a space, I just dodge abilities, dodge abilities, dodge abilities. I just tap it again to reapply the buff. The other good thing about having so much cast rate is it means while mapping, you have a very fast, like, windscreen action, so it'll feel smooth to map with. So that's kind of like the core base idea. I've over-invested in cast speed. I could get more, I could get less. If I stick with dual wielding and I feel like I want even more cast speed, I'd maybe even come across and grab Dark Arts, just a whole bunch more cast speed. But at that point, it's kind of not that big of a deal, because I've gotten so much cast speed already. And that's another advantage of Elementalist. You get all the cool Golem effect stuff, and Lightning Golem buffs up crazy. I could also stack like some harmonies to get more like Golem buff effects, which would give me more damage, more cast speed, more life regen, and more physical damage mitigation. In terms of defense, we have decent physical mitigation, decent regen. We have this massive like absorb shield, and then we are a very mobile build that can maintain full damage on the move pretty easily. So yeah. Haven't made the character yet. Well, I guess I have made the character, but we're in Act 2, so I can't tell you how good it will be or not. Yeah, if you can think of any items that would be really good for this, please do let me know. The only item which kind of screams Scorching Ray synergy is Perfect Form, because Perfect Form gives you a free Arctic Armor, and if you had the Anomalous Arctic Armor, which is the one which freezes nearby enemies when they hit you, that could be kind of neat. But otherwise, I can't really think of anything massive. There's the Harby Shield, which gives you the channeling stuff. If I was going to use a shield, I'd probably invest in block and then want a life recovery on block shield instead. Don't know. In terms of skills, Scorching Ray, Burning Damage, Efficacy, Ele Focus, Control Destruction, and Fuse Channeling. Wave of Conviction is just there to simulate exposure, because for whatever reason, just Scorching Ray doesn't seem to proc exposure. Malevolence, Herald of Ash, Enlighten, Skitterbots. That is the pure damage setup. Once I got an aspect of this Spidercraft, with Sovereignty, Enlighten 3, you can run Aspects of the Spider, and instead of Skitterbots, run either a Flesh and Stone or a Arctic Armor. Chaos Golem, Lightning Golem, Stone Golem, link them with Meat Shield, make them a bit tankier, and make them stay close to you. Summon Flame Golem linked to Combustion in my second weapon, that's how I apply Combustion to enemies, because obviously I don't hit. In my first weapon, which will be my trigger weapon, Farm Ability, Stormbrand, Cold Snap, Curses, EE, and Ele Overload uptime, and the Cold Snap gives me Frenzy Charges, also makes Chilled Ground, which is very strong, and if I'm not running Skitterbots, it's great, especially. And then Flame Dash, Arcane Surge, Second Wind, either Immortal Call or Steel Skin. There's a few ways in this build that I can cheese 100% uptime of Immortal Call with Endurance Charges. If I do that, I might need to change my links around and have increased duration in here. But I'm not sure if I want to run Immortal Call or Steel Skin. I'll just have to feel it out. The way you cheese Endurance Charges is through your Cluster Jewel setups. The other neat thing about this build in SSF is it's got lots of options for Cluster Jewels. You can run Fire Damage, Large, Spell Damage, Large, Elemental Damage, Large. For mediums, you can run Fire Dot Mediums, Generic Damage Over Time Mediums, Channeling Mediums, Flask Mediums, and for small jewels, you run Life or you run Armor. For the Life, you'd run Surging Vitalities for regen. For Armor, you get stuff with Endurance Charges, or you go for Max Res scaling. For people who do this with the Righteous Fire, which is very common, they go for the Max Fire Res stuff. And yeah, you want a Warlord's Army for +1 Fire Skill Gems, and then some like Hunter Gear, Hunter Gloves for Fire Dot Multi. That's pretty much it. It's basically the entire build. Everything else is just pick your favorite items and slap them in there. You're ailment immune because you're an elementalist. You've got a massive absorb shield. You get super exposure. You get mana regen from super exposure, and should be a build. I don't know. that's literally as far as I've gone. It's decent for times jewels because you can convert agnostic just there. You just need to drop that 1 point, and there you go. You've now got a times jewel in your build. You need to hit to apply Ele Overload and EE. So if you wanted to run like Chainbreaker Berserk stuff, that would be a bit awkward. And then you need to invest into a bunch of like mana regen stuff, and then you'd need an alternate way to sustain your mana, so I don't think I'd do that. But you could go for like a Transcendence setup. I don't know if I would do that. You could go for Divine Flesh, definitely would be very strong. You could go Divine Flesh. You could just shove in a random Timeless Jewel here just for the sake of hitting a bunch of nodes. Like if you just threw in a Timeless Jewel here, you would hit 1, 2, 3, and then it would hit a whole bunch of small nodes if you just want to get like a bunch of strength or dex into the build. And hit all of these nodes. So that could just be an option if you just wanted a bunch of stats and just maybe get some extra, I don't know, fire damage, fizz taken as an element, fortify effects, whatever. You've got a bunch of options. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you've got any cool suggestions for this build. Or let me know if you can think of anything snazzy. In terms of either skill gem utility, timeless jewel setup, cluster jewels, thread of hope spots. You could change this tree pretty substantially and go for like a big block investment setup. To do that, you'd probably drop the Costa Jewel. I think the Costa Jewel is probably worth it, though, because it just gives you a bunch of damage. It gives you options to do stun immunity stuff, endurance shard generation if you go channeling. You can just get damage if you go with just dot ones. And then if these do scale the Bastion of Elements, it's worth it just to get a whole bunch of Aegis scaling. But yeah, I'm Tarke. Give me some ideas. I'll let you know in a couple of days once I've got it to map how I feel about it. Have a good day. Bye-bye.